Good morning, everybody. It's me again. The story I'm going to tell today is hard. It's true and it's sincere, but it's very, very hard. I used to work with my dad, laying block and doing all types of construction and stuff like that. Well, I had a friend that worked with me. His name was Mike McGill. He married another friend of mine named Tammy Henry. Well, they had this little boy. His name was James Wesley McGill. Well, Mike and Tammy had no vehicle, no nothing, and when we get paid on Fridays, I would take them to the store, and and if it rained or something, I would take them out and let them pay their bills and all this stuff. Well, May the 10th, 1986, it was a Friday. We got off early, we got paid, and I took Mike and Tammy to the grocery store. Well, we was coming up the back roads through Booger Town, and little Jimmy, he was my buddy. And mind you, he was 14 months old. And he kept wanting to get out of his car seat. Well, I told him, I said, let him out. I said, I'll just go real slow, and he can sit over here on my lap and play with the steering wheel, whatever. So they got him out, and he sat in my lap, and we drove through Booger Town back over into the Glades area. Well, we get home, and unload the groceries and all this, and I stay and play with little Jimmy for a couple hours and spend time with Mike and Tammy and stuff. Then I go home. Well, Saturday, me and Mike had volunteered to mow the churchyard for Mother's Day. And it was about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I picked my lawnmower up, and I stuck it in the back of the car with gas cans and stuff, and went over to get Mike. Well, I pull in to Mike and Tammy's house, and we go around back, and we get Mike's lawnmower and everything. We get it in. Mike goes in, tells Tammy goodbye and all this. And we get in the car. Well, when I back up, I hear a thump. And Mike looked up at the gate of the door, and the child gate's open. And first thing out of Mike's mouth is Jimmy. And it dawned on me that when I'd pulled up, I hadn't run over anything. So Mike jumps out, and he runs around, and he's hollering for Jimmy. And I'm sitting here dreading the moment. So I open up the driver's side door, and I lean down and I look up under the car. And lo and behold, there he lays in front of the passenger side rear tire. When I had backed up, I had run over his head. I didn't know it. So I run around. I take my right arm and put under the car, and raise the car up and slide him out. And I pick him up, and he's got blood coming out of every orifice on his head. I screamed real loud. Because that's my godson. And Mike comes around, and I give him to Mike, and Tammy comes out, won't know what's going on, and And everybody's screaming and hollering. And I called 911 and told them to get in the car. So they get in the car and we go. And we meet the ambulance. They take the baby and they take him to Knoxville. Well, I get back to Mom and Daddy's and tell them what's going on, and I get back in the car and I head to Knoxville. We get down there and I'm with Tammy and Michael, and nobody, doctors not telling us anything. They're working with Jimmy and all this. Well, on Mother's Day, May the 12th, little Jimmy dies. So, it's just heart-wrenching, to know that you've killed your godson, even though it was an accident. It's just one of the hardest things you ever live with. And I had to deal with the law. The police come over there and they wanted to charge me with vehicular manslaughter and all this. And Mike and Tammy said no, said it was an accident. And so I take them down. We make all the funeral arrangements and everything. And after we get done with the arrangements, Mike looks at me and he said, you were Jimmy's favorite person in this whole world. He loved you more than he loved anybody, and, we would want you to be a pallbearer at his funeral. Well, it was my brother's church where the funeral was going to be held at. And my uncle volunteered to build a ramp where we could get the coffin in and out of the church. Well, Jerry Wilson was helping my dad. He was my uncle, and his brother Roy come over to help him. And during that time that they was building that ramp, Roy Wilson got saved. And Roy was always a good guy, but he just wasn't a Christian guy. But God touched him that day, and he got saved. And, we had the funeral. My little boy's buried at it, Little Cove Baptist Church. And if I can figure out how, I will put a picture of his tombstone on here. But, the Bible says we're not promised tomorrow. And God had his reasons for taking little Jimmy. And God had his reasons for using me to take him. But, I've yet to understand why. But I don't question it. I just have to live with it. Now, I'm not saying these things for pity or anything like this. The stories I'm going to be putting up here are true. They're true life stories that have happened to me. And I just want you all to know that no matter how bad life gets, you may go through a storm, you may go through a trial, but there's always a rainbow at the end of every storm if you look for it. And that's what keeps me going, is looking for the rainbows. And I hope that this story will touch your life and or help somebody, that needs you. And, You know, if you don't mind, hit the like button. But my thing is God's real, and God knows what He's doing, and it's not our place to question God. So, you know, if you think your life's bad, always look at somebody else, because you don't know what they're going through. So God bless y'all, and y'all have a great day. Thank you.